Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. Thumbs up for that. And it is indeed a brand new day. I didn't have a great night sleeping. Didn't sleep well this time. Not from any other kind of strange insomnia like leg cramps that wake me up in the middle of the night. No, this was just my normal everything hurts. Now, I could not. It is a soft mattress. On top of the soft mattress, I have two 2-inch foam toppers. It is like 10 inches of foam and soft stuff that I lay on. And most nights, like last night, when it gets really bad, oh, it was like knives in my body. So I didn't sleep well. But that's okay. Life is life, isn't it? Thumbs up for that. So hopefully you slept well, but when I got up, I went out for walkies eventually. And so that was a good thing. It wasn't a huge walkies, probably only about 2 miles. So I'm planning on going out again when it gets cooler, because it's going to get plenty warm. Oh boy. So I'll get out there again. Got to keep up with the exercise. Don't want to die any earlier than I have to. So thumbs up for that. Hopefully your morning was well, or whatever counts as your morning. Things were actually pretty good because I went back into that drainage thing just that I could smell the mint, because that's a nice smell. I would brush my hair, but I was going to reach for my comb, but my comb wasn't in my pocket either. So now you're going to watch me brush my hair. I have things written down that I want to talk about. See, I still have color in my hair. It's not just all plain silver. It's just 98% silver. Yay on that. But with the way I wanted to have my positioning and such, I have to turn to see what I have written down. One of the things that I wish was different in my life, when I was married to my wife, the way we had to raise our children. I was reacting to the situation, doing the best I could. But the demands being made were, unfortunately, not all that reasonable. And I understand why they were being made and the situation, but it didn't come out as a grand outcome. In that, when my wife got really sick, before we even moved to Olympia and then over here to Shelton, we gave our children into guardianship to her sister, who lived in Shelton. Well, they still live in Shelton. And so they had our kids. And we moved to Olympia when we could. And then we moved and bought a house just kitty corner from them, and then so we could have our kids, and they ran across and they had basically 2 houses. But as she got sicker, my wife demanded more and more of my attention. Now when she was younger, she got a lot of attention from her parents and such after it was confirmed that she was sick. And she never left home until we got married. She stayed at home, and in fact her father resented me after that for taking his daughter away. But we moved out, and God, try to remember what the situation was. We gave the kids to her sister, and she demanded more and more of my attention because of the way that she had been raised. She was very needy, which was understandable because she was also very sick. She had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma when she was young, with grapefruit-sized tumors growing on the outside of her body and on the inside, and they had to do exploratory surgery in her abdomen to keep her alive. So when we got married, she had a scar from her pubic bone up to her sternum, where they opened her up to look for tumors inside of her. And she had radiation therapy and chemotherapy, and she had to take a handful of pills to stay alive, and it only got worse as time went on. So she got sicker and sicker and demanded more and more and more of my attention. And with the kids over with the sister-in-law and her family, she demanded all of me, which left none of me for our kids. And I'm not trying to malign her by saying this. You know, she knew it. She knew how needy she was. She knew how clingy she was. But she was also, as sick as she was, I could understand why she was as needy and clingy. And I, as much as I loved her, didn't want to say no as she continued to decline. So I wish things had been different for the kids. I wish there had been more of me to give to them. I'm trying now to do the best I can. I speak with my middle child on Facebook chat. I do not know how to contact my youngest. They cut off all communication with me and apparently barely contact the rest of the family. And then my oldest lives in Montana, and I haven't chatted or talked to them for quite some time. So I'm trying as best I can. Unfortunately, well, fortunately or unfortunately, all of our children are the results of our DNA and our genetics, so they're a mess. Just as every human being on the face of the planet is, we are a mess. What else do I have on here? Well, two things on my list, and I wanted to talk about this because I went to the store and I bought some more tea, and I just wanted to talk about the tea. This is one of them. I have another one that's over there, and I can't remember what it was, but it was some sort of cozy kind of sit by the fire during the autumn type of drink, but it didn't have chamomile in it, which is why I bought it. Because I've accidentally bought some drinks that had pretty strong chamomile and then wondered why I got knocked out. Yeah, I took a huge amount of natural sedatives. I wonder why I fell asleep. But that's nice. And then I have discovered through, I can't remember who originally said it. I don't think they watch the channel anymore, unfortunately. But Earl Grey tea with bergamot. And bergamot is apparently a type of orange. But I really like the taste of bergamot, so thumbs up for that. So I bought tea to go with the food that I've got to eat, and I have food. In fact, today I've been trying to definitely eat more vegetables instead of just beans and rice and stuff like that. So I've been eating peas and carrots, doing the best I can. We had a community meal cooked by one of the people who's a very good cook there on Friday, because every month we have a community meeting. And unfortunately, with the kind of person I am, I struggle to eat meat. If I have to eat meat just as a dish by itself, I'll pass. I'm not hungry. It doesn't matter if I haven't eaten, I'm not hungry if it's just by itself. If there's like a bit of meat, like pork, and as part of a larger plate, I can handle that. But I prefer to have any meat in a meal mixed in with something, you know, like chili, like other things, you know, chicken Alfredo, stuff like that, where the meat is a part of the dish instead of the meat being a separate thing. Because if it's just meat, I'm not hungry. And it's not a conscious decision. Weirdly enough, it happened back when my wife was alive, just after she had heart surgery. She had to go to an adult family home after being in a nursing home for, extended nursing care. And I moved in with her. And strongly, one day, basically, I just couldn't eat meat anymore. And for like a month, I could not eat meat at all. Just the thought made me ill. Now it doesn't make me ill, but my hunger turns off. And if I am going to eat a dish with meat, it's got to be cooked well enough that there's no red, no pink, It has to be cooked, especially if it's something like ground beef. We had meatloaf, and there was some pink in it. And it doesn't matter what the meal is. I mean, it could be a great steak, but if it's got any pink in it, I'm gonna scrape it off the plate into the garbage. And it's not a conscious thing where I decide, nope, I don't want to do this because of my political decisions. No, it's like, oh, I'm really hungry. I'm not hungry anymore. And I'm not. I am no longer hungry. I don't know why. So that's mainly why I eat things like chili, because I can get not a great amount of stuff, but it's more stuff than just beans by themselves. And so I try to eat things that have meat in them, because I'm not going to eat meat by itself, especially since, again, my dentures, they broke and I had them repaired, but I haven't been able to do any maintenance on them, so they could break at any time if I eat anything even semi-solid. So I don't, or at least I try not to eat anything that's even half as hard as meat. I won't even eat some things, some vegetables, because they're too solid. And I'm talking about, I won't eat pears because they're too hard. Solid, uncooked carrots? No. That'd be like chewing on a rock. I wouldn't risk it. Checking the list. I also have, one of the things I talked with, I went to pay my rent, and I was talking with the person in charge of the place, because when I was homeless up in Port Orchard, well, and even in town here especially, when I was first homeless and I spent a night in the homeless shelter in Shelton here, places like that are pretty, and they have to be low barrier emergency in that sort of situation. Housing. Low barrier in that there's not a lot of things to stop people from coming in. And that includes a lot of people with behaviors that maybe don't fit in with others. Or maybe they fit in for a while, but maybe some of the things they do, or the way they leave things, or the things that happen are not great, possibly to the point that you need to have them removed. But as I was talking with the guy in charge here, because we have situations that aren't great, and I'll get into that, but I was saying, I'm sorry you have to deal with low barrier people, but at the same time, even low barrier people deserve housing, which is true. Just because you may have some issues, dealing with yourself or community areas or dealing with others, doesn't mean you deserve to be kicked out and into the wild and left to die. Everybody deserves as much care as possible. So that's a good thing. But one of the things I wanted to say, we used to have plates and such in the community center. And he had like a 20-pound bucket of silverware. Well, there are no more community plates because they kept vanishing. There's no more community silverware because all but a few sets of it vanished, and that was a lot of metal. So we've each been issued to our apartment numbers a fork and a knife and a plate, and my apartment number is etched onto my silverware and my plate, and I'm in charge of making sure that they stay in a state that I can turn them back in. So that's the only plateware and flatware that's for the community center, which life is life, hey, at least we have something. And it's still a nice community center. I mean, just because the amount of things have been reduced in the eating food department doesn't mean the rest of it is bad. We still have a nice community center, and people, you know, those that are able to take care of things as best they can, take care of that as best they can. It's a nice place. So that's definitely a thumbs up. I was rather surprised because I never hear things. I mean, I live in town here, and I never knew that they were working on this place as they were working on this place before I became homeless. But I never knew, and only found out at the community center, that there was a lot of resistance in town to try and get this thing not made, because they were afraid of what, you know, the homeless types that it would attract. And they didn't want it just because of that. Boy, oh boy. I mean, communities in America, we hate the poor and the homeless. We hate them so much. As a society, as a community, as a culture, it has been baked in, this hatred of the poor. Isn't that wonderful? But we do have this nice place here, and we are doing our best to take care of it, and it's being maintained by the people that, you know, there's charities and all that. So it's good, and I like the place. I am very, very grateful and appreciative of absolutely everything. I mean, even the floor that I complain about is still a floor that's not like dirt outside. It's a place for me to live. I'll complain about things because I am a human being, and even if I lived in a grand utopia, I would dig and scratch until I found something to complain about, because I'm a human being. That's what we do. Well, that turned off again. You know, one of these days I'm actually going to go through to the power options, and I'm going to change when the screen turns off. Do I have anything else on this list? No. The only thing, well, actually, yes, I do. But I haven't done a lot, because Thursday I had the colonoscopy. Yesterday is the day they tell you to actually take it easy. As much as I've been an idiot that first day and ate a whole bunch of stuff that you're not supposed to, and whipped around and did stuff like I wasn't having an older body filled with anesthetic that I have to work out of my system, yesterday I took it easy on Friday. I did not do much. But one of the things I did do, and of course, if you have watched this far into the video, if you could put the words fortune and glory into the comment section so that both I and the YouTube algorithm know that you watched this video, that would be very cool. But one of the things that I did, I played 2 games, just 2, of this here. Now, there are a lot of fiddly bits, but it's not as overwhelming as it may seem. Well, it's full of cards, because all of the card sets have icons so that you can separate and remove the stuff from various sets very easily. And while it has a ton of expansions, all of the expansions, while modular, are designed to be done separately. There are 7 individual adventure campaigns in here, and each one of these is set up in a way that you go into the base game, you remove parts of those, you put these in, and it replaces those cards that were gone, and it becomes a campaign. They're not mixed into the base game. And the same thing with, if you want to add random events, you can do that. You don't have to. It's modular. If you want to add henchmen, you can add henchmen. You don't have to. It's modular. There's extra loot. There's all sorts of things that you can add or not add. So last night I played base game Iron Helm. it did not turn out well. And by that, I mean the game is fun. I enjoyed that as much as I could, because the very first game that I played, my grizzled veteran wandered into the first room of the dungeon where a wraith rose up and promptly tore my character into small chunks of bloody meat. One round, and that was it. Walk into the room, just like somebody tearing apart a sheet of paper and throwing in those parts in the air. Whee! So that was great. I just put everything back together. Now, I do have a mat to play the character attributes and character wearing and character equipment part. I made the mat for the dungeon exploration part, and there is something that you can buy as a, neoprene mat for the dungeoning part, but it doesn't cover enough. It only covers a bare amount of the base game. I don't like them. I mean, they're neat. They just don't do enough. But I had to just move a few tokens back, went into the second game. That worked out a little better, except I ran into a monster that poisoned me the very first thing. Now, the problem with poison is every time you go down a floor, if for every 2 poison tokens, you gain 1 more. So if you got 3, you suddenly got 4. And if you go down, well, I think, yeah, if you got for every 2, so there's 1, and then that, so you get another 1. But here, you get 1 for this, 1 for this, so you've got 6. Once your health drops below the amount of poison you have, I can speak English, I promise, you die. So my character had 6 hit points. I had 3 poison, which means I really had 3 hit points. Because once my hit points hits the poison, boing, dead. Luckily, there are ways to drop the amount of poison that you have. And as I went along, I didn't die. And I actually went down 1 floor. Now, one of the ways, well, the only way to trigger the final boss is, at the bare minimum, when you go down a level, you turn over a plot card where you make a moral decision. But at the same time, at the bottom of the card are a number of little eyeball tokens. And this is an indicator of how aware the final boss is becoming of you. Because when you hit 10 of those little eye tokens, well, now it's the final boss fight. Because you finally attracted the big boss's attention, and it's focused on you. Which Jason Glover comes up with some very interesting little mechanisms in his card games that come up with that as a threshold counter. He's got random stuff built in to a card game where it's actually random. So that's really awesome. Thumbs up for that. But yeah, Iron Helm. I made it down to the next level from the first. I considered that a win, because as slow as I was playing, I would have been playing until at least midnight or more had I gone for make it all the way down. So I didn't do that. After that first round, that was good. I think I do remember playing one game where the poison went and killed me, or something that was just absolutely ridiculous, where I just made it through a battle, and then the end results of that battle was that the last bit of yeah, I can speak English, can't I? That last piece of damage that I took was enough to kill me. So that was great. Anyway, though, that's it. I have been thinking creatively on all of my various subjects to try and keep them in my head, because I don't want to forget them. I think the inside-outside razor's edge setting is awesome, and if you haven't heard about it, if you're new or if you've just forgotten yourself, I think that's pretty awesome. Add the cryptid setting, it's even more awesome. And the fact that within the multiverse that I've created within the cosmology of this whole setting, with this solo RPG world building that I've been doing with the Goya and the Dwaylen and the Elvandri and the Hulat, who are divided into the Hapani, the Habani, and the Orkani, I think it's all pretty awesome. And I'd like to keep it in my mind and to bring it up so that you remember to, or hear it for the first time. My voice is all up high and crackly right now. In 1989, I started working as a nurse's aide, and older people, as I have become, have difficulties hearing lower voices. And I've mentioned this quite a bit, that I actually truly no longer remember what my natural speaking voice is, because in 1989 I ramped it up. I used to have a very low baritone before I did that, but people had trouble hearing that. So I had to ramp it up to a higher register so people could hear me, and since 1989 I've been speaking up in a higher register, especially since in the year 2001 when I met my wife, because she had radiation treatment induced hearing loss. I made sure to keep my voice ramped up into a higher register just so that she can hear me. So that's like over half my life I've talked in a voice that's not my natural one. I'm not quite sure still what it is. I've been trying to speak in a lower voice most of the time. I don't know which one's mine. Ain't that great. Anyway though, hopefully everything has been going awesome in your life, and that would be a very good thing. If you're a patron, thumbs up and thank you. Your help is so greatly appreciated. Oh my gosh, without you, I would be in a even more of a world of hurting. I mean, you help a lot. Because I lost my food things because of my lowered rent here, you help me buy food. I wouldn't be able to eat without your help. Thank you so very much. And of course, if you watched this far, I do have a GoFundMe to try and help me get a new computer. That would be awesome. Something that I can both play games and edit video on, because the laptop I have is good for watching video and keeping in contact with the rest of the world. It's a nice laptop. It just can't do the things I need it to do. So if you could check out the GoFundMe in the description, that would be awesome. Thank you so very much. For each and every one of you that has left me a comment, you are beautiful and awesome people. Thank you. I read as many comments as YouTube shows me, which is never as many as have been left, and I'm very sorry about that. But for the ones that it shows me, I thumbs up and I heart as many as, again, YouTube will allow me, and I answer as many comments. I can speak English. I answer as many comments as I can, which is not as many as I would like because of the nerve compression that I'm suffering, which makes typing just torture. But at least I can, and that is a very good thing. So thumbs up and thank you. Well, hokey smokes, I gotta get my air conditioning turned back on because it's hot outside, and we got black roofs. We got a dark red side of my building here, and I face the morning sun from the very moment it comes up until noon. That wall radiates heat, so I need my AC turned back on. I'm gonna edit this, render, upload, and then it's Saturday, so I'll probably play one of my board games out there. Hey, maybe I'll get Vokter out there running away from Garmley Erig. It's hard to say. Hopefully, if I do, I can have him escape. Anyway, hopefully your day is awesome. That would be very cool. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very good thing. And I just think it's funny as hell to just react like horror and terror as I say so. Until we meet again. Why do I think things like that are funny? Because I enjoy absurdist, surrealist humor. Stuff that is it may seem to be just nonsensical, but there is a reason, even if that reason is absurdist and surreal. It's not, there is order to the nonsense. It's just nonsense that has its own order. You take care, and I'll talk to you later.